Hey everybody, welcome to Every Damn Friday. New season, new episodes, and I'm super pumped today. He is a fantastic instrumentalist. I found out some things just doing my homework that I didn't even know, which I think is cool. But today's guest, Philip Bowen. How you doing, my man?
Hey man, thanks for having me on. Good to be
Look,
here.
what I was saying is, so I found, I think this is cool because this may not be the case uh, for all of your fans, but I found out about you through mutual musicians who I loved who were fans of you. Uh, and I didn't even know you were on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, I love what that's awesome, and that's I mean for me, that's always like the highest praise. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what you would call our genre, like whatever this genre is that we're kind of in. There's kind of I have no idea. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's always the highest praise to me is like when because I love and respect so many of those artists and their music and. But yeah, AGT was kind of crazy, man. I did that in 2023, like season 18. So it was kind of a wild ride.
Well, and then to build, and then go right from that into like the world shutting down and like, like what the hell do I
Yeah.
do with this success that I have because I can't go out and play anywhere?
It was so for me it was kind of flipped. So let's say like in 2020, I was like, okay, like I can't do or going into 2020, I was like, I'm really kind of miserable in my corporate job. I wish I would have never I should have applied myself. I really want to give this a real try. So then the world shuts down. I start just trying to build an audience from scratch. And that's the fiddle helped me a lot with that because it's so hard to stand out in any kind of way for your songwriting. And so I was like, well, if I can just get people in the door, that's how I'll go. So those early couple of years, I was like really trying to build, 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 and then I got recruited onto AGT, like kind of in the middle of all that. So like
Okay.
the best part about being on AGT for me, and what I was doing is like exposure outside of just like people who listen to like folky Americana country singer songwriting kind of stuff. Like it gave me exposure to people like outside of that genre, and so that was the best part about it for me was just kind of new people into my little world.
And it is kind of a silo in some ways.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of the same people, and you see, you know, and it seems like there's little tribes of artists that are you kind of see packaged together all over the place, the same festivals, the same stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty killer. But man, like so you kind of touched on it. What's the story? So you know, you posted a video I think yesterday, and
Yeah.
I needed to hear it, and I was glad you did because content is just like, oh, you know,
I know.
I I'm 45 years old, and I want I want to do what it takes to stay in the game, but it's like, you know, I the tools, like I don't have the tools, and I don't have I'm not a kid anymore. My kids are better at social media than I am,
I know.
and you posted a great video just about like, you know, if you just I think the one thing that you said was, you know, your biggest fan doesn't hasn't heard you yet, and it's
Yeah.
because you're expecting them to find you, and you kind of have to go out and meet them where they're at. Tell me a little bit about kind of how that's worked for you.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of I had to try to think of something from the beginning. And so my whole life before this, I was like in the corporate marketing world, at a big agency and I had my MBA in marketing. I kind of chickened out of doing music for a living. Right out of college, I was so scared of being a starving artist and failing. And so, I used to really regret all the time I felt like I had wasted, but some of that I've been able to put to good use. And the story is my story. Like, you know what? I didn't go hard on it in my 20s. I didn't do that, but now I got to move on from and make the best of it I can. And so my approach was like, well, how do I just get people's attention and like tell my story? And so, and I also have like a young family. And so my rule at the beginning was music pays for music. I'm not spending one penny of my salary. Music has to, whatever I put into music, I have to earn through music. And so I was like, well, how do I build this like a real kind of like thing that can provide for my family? And so I tried to start just like, okay, one person at a time. How am I going to do this? And I can't be like, at the beginning, the world was shut down, but I was like, it's not really practical right now for me to like work this corporate job and leave every single weekend, play a bunch of bars, and just hope for the best. Like it wasn't going to work for me. And I was like, well, I got this huge tool at my disposal, with social media. What if I just try to start going live and live streaming from my house instead of traveling? A camera's a lot less than a van. So I was like, all right, well, let me just try to start that. And that way, hopefully, when it gets built to a certain level, then I have an audience ready to receive like what I'm putting out.
See
Um, yeah,
that that is that's so refreshing because I feel like I've been in both worlds, right?
Yep.
So I've been playing music for 25 years, and in the beginning it was road dog, road dog, road dog. You got to play everywhere. You got to do all those things. And
Hmm.
I had a career and was playing music like you were talking about, and it was
Hmm.
really hard to balance those things. And then when I quit my job to play full time, it was just like you. Like I had a young family. We had a house, we had a farm, we had all these things, and I had to hold up my end of the bargain.
Right.
And so now I'm at a place where I'm kind of doing what you're saying. It's like the music needs to do the music thing. My job can still do what it does, and it has, like, the social media aspect of it has kind of changed the way that, you know you don't have to play every city in a circuit for, 100 times,
Hmm.
to build that fan base. So it to me,
Yeah.
it's great to hear people reiterating that, because it's easy to look at other people's tour schedule and go, "Uh, I'm I'm never going to be able to do that." You know,
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, it's almost it's such a comparative industry to where like that kind of stuff can be really crippling. And then when you start comparing yourself to death, you lose sight of the things that you've even done, whatever victories you consider them small or large. Like all you could think about is, well, man, like I'll give you a good example. I have always one of my biggest dreams I've got on my board back here still is I want to step into the circle at the Opry and play a song I wrote. And last year I had six friends, six in music, get their debut at the Opry. And so I would love to say that my first reaction was like, yes, I'm so happy for you. But sometimes like that, it eats away at you so much. Like, man, like what do I got to do? Like, I don't know. And then you lose sight of all the interesting things that you've already done to that point, And so, and you can really feel like less than. Like if you're not, like I have so much respect for people that were doing it that way, where they were like, I've been on the road for like 5 years and I'm finally starting to pick up some bigger shows. But the way that it happened for me was not that way at first. Like it was almost like I had to make the best of the situation that I was in, and then I also had to try to stand on my own 2 feet. So when I got invited to do like, for example, like Mountain Stage, I feel like was a life changing moment for me for the songwriting part of my life. Like that was very surreal because I was like, okay, this is real. It's a real stage. It's a real people. People bought tickets. They're here for this, and so that felt huge to me because it's hard to make your own energy to like a camera when you see your friends out there. It's just different, and there's room for both of those things.
well, and I
You
think
know.
it's, when you mention Opry, I'm the same way. Like I just had a friend make his debut, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and there was a time when I had a band. Uh, Everybody in my band had played on the Opry except for
Yeah.
me, and I
Yeah.
was the lead singer and the songwriter. And it was
Yeah.
like, geez, man.
That's
But
hard.
but just like 2 weeks ago, I posted some notes I'd made to myself, and they were really just for me. But I wanted to share them, kind of the same way. It's like I have to quit looking at all the things that other people are doing and just be like, man, I did this and I did this, and I'm
Hmm.
proud of this thing, and I'm still I I a lot of times people say, like, you know you 5 years ago you would kill to be where you are right now, and
That's right.
you have to keep, long range, think long term, all that kind of stuff. Uh, but you got 10 million plus streams. Uh, the new single, what's it up to now? Is it quarter of a million?
It's. I mean, I feel cringy talking about myself, but I, I
No,
was like,
that's what this is
it's.
about.
I know. It's almost at 200,000 after like a week and a half, and it's very surreal. I mean,
That is crazy.
having Chuck on that thing doesn't hurt nothing. He's such a good. He's been a good friend to me. But even like the anyway, yeah, it's a huge blessing to have listeners. It's a huge blessing because I used to like no one would ever care when something came out, so I'll take it for sure.
Look, and that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, there's people that drop a song and they get a million streams. You know,
Hmm.
it you have it's about, how's the needle moved for you.
Yeah,
And this song, Blues Water, it is so beautiful.
that's very kind.
And and I know it has a story behind it, and
Yeah.
which is very personal. And I think you have spoke to a group of people who probably don't like to talk about that kind of situation, and you've given them a little bit of healing.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and from my own experience, it's obviously a very heavy subject matter, and so like from I was like so down from a point like it almost like took me out to be real, and I was like, well, the only thing where music has saved my life is in being able to write and sing about stuff like that. I'm not good at talking about them always, or like working it out. I just try to like move past it or hide it or bury it or whatever, or do more, ignore it. And that doesn't, for something like this, it just doesn't work. It's not good for your health. And so as hard as it was for me to talk about or like write about, it's very cathartic to go to sing through that kind of stuff. And like then I truly was blown. I started playing it at live shows like in the fall, and I legitimately could not have ever dreamed that that many people, or imagine that that many people would come up to me afterwards and be like, "Oh man, this is like, that's the one they wanted to talk about." And they start crying again, and
Well,
we're all crying. I'm like, "All right, yeah,
yeah,
like we could talk about it, yeah, you
you
know."
well, you open the door for the conversation where people just don't. Yeah, like you said, everybody knows people who have gone through that, and
Hmm.
but you just don't talk about it, and you don't want to bring it up, and I think, like you said, it's a very eloquent way of getting it out there and kind of extending the olive branch to somebody to start that discussion,
Yeah,
and it could just be mean that they listen to it in private, and
it definitely
it,
could mean that.
and it's their song, and they listen to it every now and then when they need it, you know.
I mean, I played a show at one of my favorite venues. It's called the Arc in Ann Arbor. I played that in whenever that was, like November of last year. And you know, I played that song and had people like just stand up and walk out because it's just they're overcome with whatever, and they'll come up to me afterwards and be like, "I didn't mean nothing by that." I was like, "It's man, it's all right." And whenever I play that at shows, I'm always like, "All right, folks." After it's over, I'm like, "All right, guys, that's the saddest one I got. It's all up from here. All right, it's all up from here. Like
I
we got it
promise.
out, you know." Like that's but it's music is very special in that way. And when I played it for Chuck, because he has gone through something similar, and when I played it for him, I just like, man, you know, maybe I want to know what your thoughts are on this. And then we just connected over it right away. And we'd obviously worked together before. And so, you know, it's always special to have an artist like him, like that will work with you. But also, like when it's just somebody you know as a friend, that's the best part about music is that like working with your friends. And, you know, I've gotten to do that a bunch. I'm blessed in that way. And it's just, it makes it even more impactful because it's like, all right, cool. We can kind of tell this story together, which is awesome.
We'll talk about that a little bit. So you collaborate a lot,
Uh huh.
and do a lot of session work and play on
Tons.
people's records because you're a fantastic musician as well as songwriter.
Thank you, man.
It and again, this interview is about you, Philip. So
Yeah.
uh, tell the people, the tens of people watching, some of the people that you've got to play with and have collaborated with.
Yeah, so on like the fiddle side of my life, I've been playing that since I was like 4 years old. So it's like my first love in music, and so I've gotten to play like I got a couple cuts on Noah Kahan's record, Stick Season. I just played one for Sam Barber, that song Thought of You. I've got to work, you know, with my one of my best friends in music is Josiah Lemming from Josiah and the Bonnevilles. We've worked together a bunch. Brandon Davis, Zandy Hollop, all kinds, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
It's at 49. I'm good buddies with those guys. Like I got to play on the opening track of their new song. I'm doing the fiddle on that. So, um, and it's just been it's awesome. I'm honored when people ask me to play on one of their songs because they are trusting me with like their child almost. You know what I mean? So I just try to like do some service to the song, have a conversation with it, and give it that little bit of emotion. You know, with that Appalachian style fiddle playing. So I love doing that kind of stuff too.
Well, and you've got and and, and you've got swag. It's like it's like
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
when you're playing, like like I'm excited when, of course, for the one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you is because you're playing the Ramble on September 19th,
yeah, man.
but we're doing it acoustic, and I think that's going to be super special because I
Yeah,
feel like sometimes the musicianship gets lost in the big production, and it's so nice, especially in that environment where we're going to have an intimate crowd and we're in the barn, like just you and an accompanying guitar. I think is
yep.
going to be super special.
It's that's still truly like my favorite size thing to play because especially when you're doing something like maybe a little more acoustic feeling or you got a duo or a trio or something like that where like you can kind of tell the story and you can like be very present in it. And so I love that size of a venue just for that very reason because the song can just be the song. And you know, I'm not like I write about, you know, my life, so I'm not really writing about like getting blacked out on Broadway on a Saturday night. You know, it's just not my life. But what I think artists like, let's say like Charles or Drayton or people like that have shown me is that there's absolutely space and plenty of people ready to receive. If you're just writing about the real stuff of life, or for me, my home state, what I enjoy, I write about the outside a lot, things like that, and there's tons of room for that, you know.
Well,
So
and in our situation, I've tried to cultivate this series where at first people weren't sure how to take it because it's my local people. We don't have a lot of cultural enrichment here,
mhm,
right? Like I go out and get to play all over the place, but there's nothing here for people to go watch besides like your bar band stuff, right?
sure,
Cover
sure,
bands and things. And
yep,
so when we bought the farm and the barn was there, and we started talking about converting it, which my wife was not in favor of because it was she was like, we don't have the money to spend on this thing.
yep,
Uh, but like the first show, it was Cole Chaney and Wolfpen Branch and Tony Logan. Like it was a great like first out of the gate thing.
yeah,
And
man,
and my local folks were like, "This is fine, but like I don't know these songs." I'm like, "But did you like it? Like, are they good?"
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're like, "Well, yeah, it was great." So over time, this is like the fifth or sixth one. Like now they know. They know they're going to show up, and they're maybe going to hear an artist that they've never heard of before.
that's right.
Uh, but that they trust me that they're going to be the best at what they do,
That's
right?
the coolest, man.
And
Yeah,
they expect the story. They expect to find out why you wrote that song or whatever. So
yeah,
that's exciting for me to see my people respond to musicians that have am a fan of. I mean, because I'm curating it, right? So I don't
yeah.
bring in stuff I don't like,
You get to
and
pick, and which is that's really special though too, because like I saw John R was just there,
yeah.
and like I was excited that Rich is gonna be on the bill with me. Like I've been enjoying his stuff through just another music friend. I just randomly saw they posted about one of his songs. I was like, oh, this looks right up my alley, and it is. And Rich and I have been texting about trying to get a show going together. So then this just worked out. So
Well,
I love that, man.
it's a mutual admiration society.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if I'm gonna go play shows, I want to play with people that I want to listen to every night, or that I
one
like
hundred
hanging
percent,
out with.
100%.
And yeah, and by the way, this is an interview to see if we're gonna be new best friends.
Yeah, yeah,
But but no, it. I think you're right. I think there's 100%. Like I, Jason Isbell said it. You're not having to steal fans from people. Like there's enough fans
mm,
for every person, and there
that
is
is so
a
true.
tribe of people. Yeah, like I'm not trying to take your fans away from you, but there are places where maybe your music and my music and this other person's music overlap, and it's like, oh yeah, the, we could share people and expose people to each other. That's you know
It's a beautiful
Spotify
thing.
in all of its the things that are wrong with it. The thing that it does right, I think, is send people music that they're going to like.
Oh, absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely. It's so good at connecting in that way, and like you said, most of the time it's pretty good. I'm like, cool. That's somebody I like enjoy, or I've seen open for a friend, or like and there is something very special about this whatever genre of music in that, like, for example, I opened up for 49 last year, and I did like a trio. So it was me, a stand-up bass, and I'm playing fiddle too, you know. And they play like their sound is not that, but the songwriting vein is right in that. And I have people that were at that show that have come to like 5 or 6 of my shows after that. Same like when I opened for Wyatt Flores, like very similar groups of people who are just like there's just this really interesting between the artists and on like the fan side of things, where like they're so quick to embrace you if it falls in that kind of vein. Like it's such a really cool environment for that.
and people throw this word around a lot, but I do think that music fans, like everybody likes hits. Hits are hits.
Hits are hits, yeah.
Pop songs are pop songs because of what they do.
Yep,
But I think deep down, music fans are just looking for something authentic,
that's it.
and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be polished, and it doesn't have to be
Hmm.
beautiful. Like it doesn't have to be all those things that a pop artist has to be. And I think that it's relatable.
It's very freeing too as an artist, because I for a very long time of my life was like very nervous to sing in front of people, because I was like, well, my voice is whatever it is. I didn't feel like I had like a really, a belty kind of voice or whatever. And so I think the greatest gift of this kind of storytelling type of music, like of course, like I grew up like listening to like John Prine and John Denver. I love James Taylor's one of my favorite songwriters. I love that kind of like real great storytelling. And it kind of gives you freedom as an artist, like to not be as stressed about that part of thing. Like your voice is your voice. People want to hear your story from you. And yeah, because it was intimidating for me. The first time Charles and I worked together, I was like, man, this guy could sing like the Chinese
Yeah.
restaurant menu, and it would sound good. And but there's you have to kind of relax on that and be like, you know what, I'll do the best that I can do, and my song is my song, and people really embrace that, which is awesome.
And I think too, when you talk about people who are older, we both have gray in our hair, and
Yep.
we've had life experience and all those things. It takes sometimes it takes you that long to decide what you sound like.
Yeah, and
Because you're
to write the things you've lived. Like
but
I have kids, or I've had a lot more loss in my life and stuff like that, where I feel like I can write about what I know, and I don't think I could write the stuff I've written like in the past year or two, like when I was in my early 20s. It just wasn't going to happen. That,
it's impressive that some of these young kids are writing
yes,
some of these heavier
I
things.
agree.
Like I'm like, I don't know, like how did that happen to you in high school? Um, but for me, yeah, it's I don't know, and I emulated so many people early on,
Yeah.
like the people that I were truly fans of, and it you have to grow out of that and into the your own voice, that authentic thing we were talking about.
Hmm.
And I think you're always chasing it too.
And you're always trying to, you know, to come to terms with the fact that, like, okay, maybe I do, like, maybe I do belong a little bit. Maybe my songs are okay. Because it's,
It's
I just
yucky.
love music.
It,
I love music
it's a
so
yucky
much.
feeling.
It
I,
is.
I, I wrote a song yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? This was good. Like I'm getting better
Yeah.
at this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And what? Let's talk about your writing style. So how does that work for you? Like, are you disciplined, or do you like every day? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write.
Hmm.
Is it muse? Like what's?
Well, I think when you're maybe first starting out, everybody's hoping for, like, okay, I feel good today. It's 75 degrees. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna write today, and you can definitely get great stuff from that. But I think the real sauce behind all that is like when you treat it. If it's gonna be your job, if you're gonna be a pro, be a pro. And there's no escape in the work, as my grandfather would have said. So you gotta treat it like a job. And even when you don't get anything great, the more you fill up that, like, bank of ideas and stuff like that. I tried to write today. I don't know. But then sometimes if you're doing it frequently, you can get that where you're kind of catching lightning in a bottle, and you're like, oh, I like this idea. I like this hook. Because if you just try to do it every now and then, it's like playing golf every now and then. It just sucks. It's not. It's
Well,
really hard to be great once in a while.
and it does come in waves too. So
Definitely.
it seems like I'll write 3 to 5 songs that I end up using later, like came
Hmm.
together,
Hmm.
and then maybe you do got to step away for a while because you're kind of getting into
Yeah.
a rut or a style
Yep.
that you're like, I can't get away. I keep starting out on the G. I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. Find a different way to, like,
Yeah.
get where I think that's been one of the real joys of being able to play like a melody instrument, like the fiddle. Like sometimes I can give myself ideas, like I'll sit down and be like, okay, cool, maybe if I do this, riff it a little differently, or like working. I used to be very scared of co-writing because I said my song, I don't know, but like working with an artist, like for example Josiah or something like that, who I really enjoy working with and writing with, is that I feel like he has such a gift for melody and stuff like that, where you need a friend that you trust that can be like, yeah, that's like I got to write with Ronnie Bowman a couple times last year.
Oh man.
Legend, love, what a sweet
Yeah.
person, and he's got this really great way of saying it. I'll be like, I think that's good, but there's probably a better way we can say that. And you need somebody able to tell you that without you, like, freaking out, and to be like, you know what? Yeah, I can iterate on that a little bit. I can mess around with it to get the best that you can out of it.
Look, so I'm on Rich's label now, right?
Cool,
And I've been sending songs down to Brett Robinson, who's doing the production,
cool.
and for the first time, I've songs that I love, but I couldn't just like figure out
Hmm.
like they weren't like crushing it. He would just send it back and go, that chorus, man, you gotta dump that. You gotta do something different. And it
Not
was
him.
like I needed somebody to tell me
You
that,
do.
and then it immediately came, you know, or it criticism. Once you learn how to take it, it's really helpful.
And you got to finish them too, which is like that hard balance. Like if you have a notebook full of 20 songs, but you haven't finished more than one or two, you got to learn how to try to, like, complete the song, and then you can go back and mess around with it. And then at some point, you got to put it to bed and be like, "That's the song."
Yep.
You know,
Hey, I'm
it's
real.
hard to
I,
do.
I'm. And it sounds like you're a melody guy too. Like for me, it's like melody first, and the words. Sometimes as long as they rhyme and they fit, like it's like I need the sounds to be what they are, and that's the hook.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
hope that you can be clever with words.
I think writing around gibberish is a really nice tool, and then you can like if I have the general idea of what I'm trying to say. But especially with the fiddle, I experience music very visually, like truly like colors, and so like if I can just close my eyes so I can see it how I want to see it and kind of draw the picture, I could be like, okay, this is making me feel some type of way, great. If I go right outside, is my favorite place to write is just outside somewhere, and
Do
then
you do
then I
you
can
ever
feel like I can be in it.
do you ever try to just like a lot of times I'll have the progression that I want, and I really just try to like be completely open and just try to like be a conduit and just try to sing the
Hmm.
words like almost like freestyle and
Definitely.
see what phonetic things come out.
Definitely. And then there are definitely times where like like it'll be almost like a gift where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I had the idea." And then it's like there are a couple songs I've written where I felt like I wrote the whole thing front to back in about 15 20 minutes and it was just done. Those are like a rare bird, but I think that is a product of the other work that you put in. So it might
Yeah,
seem like it's right there in that moment, but I feel like it's like it like is like aggregates all this way and then
it was
boom.
culminating.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And but that's what I love about songwriting. I like when you feel like you have a really good one and you just can't. I keep coming back to it. Okay, it's real. I feel like I got something here. Like I love that feeling of kind of chasing it down, and like putting the thought behind the words and telling the story that you want to tell, so that it matters. Like you know, when you stop trying to write like other people necessarily, or try to write somebody else's story and write your own story, I think that's when you have the most
Yeah,
success. And yeah, it's hard to do. It's it's like anything else in the world. You just gotta come at it over and over again and try to make it the best you can make it.
and hopefully when we're 80, we've got this big pile of stuff that
Exactly.
that you know.
Exactly.
And ultimately, I think that's what we're chasing. Like you're chasing the respect of others and
Hmm.
and those stories of people who connected to the songs that you didn't think maybe it's I'm always surprised at what people's favorite songs are. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
maybe
me
maybe
too.
not the one that I thought was the banger. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, I really like this.
I think that's what's great about a lot of times it can be really scary to write a sad song that is like maybe it's nice and melodic, but maybe it's very slow. It's not going to get people out of there dancing in the aisles, but that stuff hits for a reason, and I think that's the skill and the confidence that you build over time. Is that this song I'm playing is the only thing in the world right now, and my job is to communicate it to the audience, and that is the biggest pressure I feel. Sometimes almost too much. Where when I'm going to go play a show, I try to really think about like, okay, these people like they plan for this, they got childcare, they went out to eat, maybe they got a new shirt, and they're here for this, and that's a huge honor. And so I just try to be like, okay, like how can I, whether it's 20 people or 2,000, like what's the best way I can execute tonight?
Honor this moment.
Yes, because
Well,
it was a
but
dead
I'm
dream
like
for
you
me for
too.
so long.
But I'm like you too. Like I'm a slow song guy,
Hmm.
and uh, and my wife, who is super honest with me, will be like, you need something, you need to write a fun song if you're going to play this,
Definitely.
and I'm like, but I'm a fun guy in real
Yeah,
life,
yeah, yeah.
but when you sit down with a pencil, sometimes it's like those are things that make me feel something.
Hmm.
I'm not getting anything out of the like you said, like with talk about getting blacked out drunk and going to the bar. Like
Yeah,
I don't have any interest in writing those things. I'm trying to explore something.
yeah, yeah.
Um, hey, so tell me about so touring wise, you're getting ready to go out on. Basically, you're doing a solo tour.
Hmm.
Is it going to be kind of duo trio oriented? The headliner tour you're getting ready to do?
Yeah, so for most of that, we're gonna have at least we'll have at least a four piece for all of that. So
Okay,
like
awesome.
I'm gonna start in Ann Arbor with like a little songwriter show. That'll be just a duo, but then like most of the run in August is like a four piece. So we're gonna like it's like Knoxville, Nashville, Louisville, the Carolinas, DC, Pittsburgh, blah blah, and then we have this big opening show for Whiskey Myers in Toledo. So like
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be sick. And so like the kind of towards the end of that run, we have like a fair show in West Virginia where we're gonna add the fifth piece. And then because the economics of touring is crazy, you want to have a great show, but you also want to be able to live. And so so like
Well, it's
that's
like
hard.
Chuck. It's like Chuck talking about, you know, what was he spending like 15 grand a month there for a while, and
Touring. Yeah.
the guys were basically like, look, we'll work for half if it makes it work. That documentary was so good, by the way.
It is crazy. And I think like I remember I met him kind of during that time in person for the first time. He was opening for Zach Bryan in Detroit, and he's like, "Bro, you want to come out? You can meet Zach and everybody, and we can play, take some videos backstage and everything." And he's like, "I bet you there's this big bus." He's like, "You like that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's great." He's like, "I am on." So then we walked around the corner, and it was like this kind of old conversion van with like a trailer, and he's like, "This is how we're living basically this whole whatever time." And it was cool to see like them doing that and putting in the work. And then like that gave me a lot of like when I was thinking about it, because I've done plenty of solo shows or like duo shows and I really love them. And I also love doing like the band stuff, and it's just trying to make it work. I really try my best. I'm very passionate about paying the band fairly too. Like I don't want people to be able to don't have this resentment towards what we're doing. So
Look, I
you
mean,
know
I had a lady, one of my best friends. She plays fiddle also, and played with me for 5 or 6 years. And when I told her, I'm like, look, I know you've been playing because she'd been playing with some very, very, very famous,
hmm
nationally, internationally touring artists, and I was like, Anna, we can only pay you $200 a gig. I know you probably expect more. She goes, no, that's twice as much as I was making with that person. And I
it's
was
great.
like, oh my God,
I
I
know.
can't imagine.
Well, and I do think that like that's an important thing to talk about with other. Like I was just having this conversation with somebody in Nashville last week, where sometimes as artists we feel like, oh, it's only successful, or I can only make an honest to God good living if I'm doing these humongous shows, 2,000 plus. But that's really not. I mean, you can make a really wonderful living in music if small venues are your thing and that's where you feel the most comfortable, and you got people that will come out and support you. You can all do well like in that realm. It's just the cost really stacks up the more you expand, and it's not bad. It's just you got to figure out a way to make it work on the business side, which is most of the time like if you're a very creative person, that's really intimidating to think about. It's not very comfortable all the time, but if you have people that are kind of willing to go with you on the journey, hey, maybe listen, maybe we can only do about $150 a show for this little run, but we have some big stuff we're doing, and I'll take care of you. It's just the give and take of that whole relationship is really tough.
Now, do you kind of work with a squad that's like, as far as your side musicians, is it pretty much the same people
Mm.
that you work with all the time, or do they rotate?
They do rotate. I got my favorite. My thing I really have to have is I love to have a guitar player who can really hold it down, because if I go to a show of mine and I don't play any fiddle, if I have a fiddle player so I can play the guitar, people get like, "What? Like, how are you not playing the fiddle?" And I like to play my own licks too. So a good guitar player is very key for me. And like if it's a four piece, I'll usually will have like me, a guitar player, a utility player, and drums. And then if we have the bass in there, that's even better. So I try to like, but there's a few guitar players I just absolutely love, and that I'll use. Or like Julia DeGrazia, who's opening for me for most of this
Yeah.
tour, is a great guitar player. And so like I've done that before where I've opened for somebody and then jump in the band and play, and that's a great way to do like tour economics that way. So
Yes.
we mix some of that up too. And then once we get into September, October, November, that'll be all five piece, because we have these like huge opens for Dwight Yoakam and at some really big venues, which is I'm very excited about. But I'm also like, so at least we can play together a bunch before all that happens, and hopefully
Right. You'll be
it's all
crushing it by then.
yeah. So it's man, I love playing. It's like my favorite thing. So like I'm very excited for all of it, and we'll see see how it goes.
Well, okay. So, and I don't want to keep you too long,
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
but what are some of the you were talking about your list on the wall?
hmm
What are some of the things you've been able to check off over the last few years?
One of the biggest ones for me was Mountain Stage, because I mean I grew up like going to that and watching it. It's hosted. They do it everywhere, but it's hosted in Charleston, West Virginia most of the time. Like Kathy Mattea was the host when I was on
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like it was very surreal, and it was sold out. It was just a really wonderful accomplishment. And I always have wanted to play the Bluebird, and I've done that twice now, like a full set. So that was great. I loved doing that. Like things like that where as you can tell, like I'm very passionate about the songwriting, and so like things
Yeah.
that will acknowledge you as a songwriter, like it's very rewarding in that way because you really struggle so hard to get it done. And then like the Arc, I've probably gone to 12 shows at the Arc in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I got to play my own headliner there last year. That was very a cool kind of full circle moment. So there's stuff like that like really means a lot to me. That
What are things that are still on the list?
oof,
You mentioned the
okay,
Opry.
for sure the Opry, of course, like the church, like Ramen. I'd love to do that one day. I really wanted to play the Caverns. I never played the Caverns. Like Red Rocks is really cool. That's like a big aspirational thing. Also, like it's never worked out where I've done it yet, but like I gotta get to Laurel Cove. Like I really want to do Laurel Cove
Yeah.
because like I feel like every one of my like I played a bunch of shows with Jonathan Payton and Abigail Payton, and they couldn't speak more highly of it. Like I met John
I mean,
Grace through
they
them
were
and
there this
Wyatt.
time just for their anniversary.
I know. Like
You
they
know,
were. He's like, I think we're going to drive down there, and I was somewhere doing a show, and but like I kind of initially had contact through John Grace through like when I was opening for Wyatt, and then JP and anyways,
he
I
just
feel
went
like
all the way out and to Under the Big Sky,
I believe that.
and I saw a video of John handing the guitar out to Wyatt on a
That's
guitar
the
change.
coolest, man. That's the cool,
Look,
and
it is,
I love those guys. They're great.
again, to me, it's like whatever genre we are. Like I don't know what it is,
Hmm
they are the absolute best people. Like it is
hmm
like and being at a festival like that, it was like the crowd was filled with the
Yeah,
musician. You know, it was one of those where
exactly.
everybody comes around and watches and is supportive
Heck
and
yeah.
and you can just see tours lining up, like and
Hmm
people going, "Oh yeah, you're going to come out with me next year, and I want
Absolutely.
to song." It it's a I love being from our area, Kentucky, West
Oh
Virginia.
man,
You
me
know,
too.
and of course we got Tennessee. I think Nashville kind of colors the water in
Yep.
Tennessee a lot, uh,
Yep.
and that's been
I love it, man. I mean, I love playing in West Virginia more than almost anywhere else because it's a very small state with a huge heart. And when you grow up in West Virginia, you know anybody doing anything even remotely of note. And so the support I have got from my home state, it could just make me cry every time. It's just so wonderful. People just show up. Either man, I didn't really know who you were, but my grandson likes you, so I came out. He told me you're from Montgomery. I'm coming. Like it's just and it's really for the whole region of Appalachia because like I've done stuff in Kentucky or the Carolinas, and people just are so wonderful and supportive. Like I was talking to Bill Taylor the other day. I was so happy for
yeah.
them, and anyways, it's just a good culture of people and music, and I think that it's a really special thing now. How it's kind of the cool thing to be like from Appalachia. Like it didn't used to always be like that, and now it's like, oh, you're actually from there. Like this is crazy. It's interesting how the tides have turned in that way.
Well, it's funny you talk about Bill Taylor. Anna played with me
Oh,
for
I
like
got you.
six
Okay,
years.
awesome, 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 awesome.
Yeah,
Very
she
cool.
and that makes sense. America's Got Talent connection there. I'm sure he's
hmm
asking your advice.
Yeah, I
Man,
reached out to him. I was like, if you got any questions, you let me know. But yeah, I'm happy for them.
man, I'm so excited for you to come to my little
Yes,
farm in the middle of
can't wait.
Kentucky. It's going to be a great time. If people want to find more information about you, where do they need to go?
Man, I'm out there on social media a little bit. You can put my name and find me, and my music's on all those platforms, and my website is just my name, Philip Bowen Music, and the tour dates and stuff are all there. So yeah, come see us on tour, and we'll have a big time.
And this is and at the air date for this will be the day before you play at Zanzibar in Louisville.
Oh,
Uh,
sweet. Okay, awesome,
so
awesome, awesome.
so those people that are watching this today, if you're in the Louisville area, he's going to be at
Oh,
Zanzibar, and it's going to be very very awesome.
can't wait. I've never played anything in Louisville except like a private event, and I've always wanted to swing by there and do Zanzibar, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, to all our listeners in this area, if you want to ride, I'm going to be there. So come
Let's
with
go.
me, and we're going to go check out Philip,
Let's
buddy.
go.
Thank you so much for taking time to talk to
Of
me. I
course.
can't wait to meet you. Can't wait to see you in person. And just keep doing what you're doing. You're an inspiration, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I'm excited to see y'all in Kentucky.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening to Every Damn Friday. Go to YouTube, subscribe, do all the things, and share this with folks. We need to get Philip as much listenership as we can.
Heck
I
yeah.
appreciate y'all.